Alex Eala has already done what many believed was impossible. 15 months ago, she walked onto the courts in Miami, ranked number 140 in the world, and stunned the tennis world by defeating Świątek in straight sets, 6-2, 7-5. Most people dismissed it as a once-in-a-lifetime upset, a magical day where everything clicked for the underdog. Alex Eala never saw it that way. Now, destiny has brought them together again. This time, the stage is far bigger. The surface is completely different, and the stakes couldn't be higher. It's Wimbledon 2026, grass instead of hard courts, the third round instead of an early tournament, and standing across the net is not just Świątek, but the reigning Wimbledon champion. Yet the most surprising part of this matchup isn't that Eala has a chance to win again. It's that the defending champion may actually enter this match carrying far more uncertainty. To understand why, you have to look beyond the rankings and rewind the last 6 months. Because while one player's confidence has steadily grown, the other's has slowly begun to crack. Their careers have been moving in opposite directions, making this one of the most fascinating showdowns of the tournament.
Let's begin with Świątek. Just 1 year ago, she stood on center court holding the Venus Rosewater dish after crushing Amanda Anisimova 6-0, 6-0 in one of the most dominant Grand Slam finals in recent memory. She looked untouchable. Many expected 2026 to be another season filled with trophies and complete control over the women's game. Instead, the year has unfolded very differently. The dominance has faded. Świątek has already suffered 11 losses this season. She has yet to win a title against top 10 opponents. She's managed just 1 victory while losing 5 times. The setbacks have piled up. She fell to Elena Rybakina at the Australian Open. Elena Svitolina beat her twice, once in Indian Wells and again in Rome. Mura Andreas stopped her in Stuttgart. She retired injured against Angelina Kalinina in Madrid. Then, at Roland Garros, Marcia dismantled her 7-5, 6-1 on the clay courts where Świątek has always looked nearly unbeatable. Even her final grass court tune-up offered little encouragement, as Emma Navarro eliminated her in 3 sets at Bad Homburg. None of those losses alone define a season. Together, however, they paint a picture that is impossible to ignore. It isn't a dramatic collapse. It's something quieter and perhaps even more concerning. Again and again, Świątek has struggled to deliver in the biggest moments against elite opponents. Her first 2 matches at Wimbledon reflected that same uncertainty. Against Taylor Townsend, she battled through a difficult 3-set contest, eventually winning 6-1, 2-6, 3-3. The victory came with visible emotion. During her press conference afterward, Świątek admitted that the season had taken an emotional toll and acknowledged that things simply hadn't gone the way she had expected. Her second-round performance looked much smoother, a comfortable 6-1, 6-3 win, but the scoreline may have said more about the level of her opponent than about fully rediscovering her championship form.
Now, compare that with Alex Eala. Her 2026 season has been building momentum almost every single week. She opened the grass season in Birmingham as the tournament's top seed and captured the title after battling back from a set down to defeat Nicola Bartonkova in the final. It wasn't just another trophy, it was her first career grass court title. Then came Berlin, and that's where everything changed. Eala defeated Donna Vekic in the opening round before producing one of the biggest wins of her career, beating world number 2 Elena Rybakina in straight sets 7-5, 6-4, after trailing 4-1 early in the match. She didn't stop there. Next came another top 10 victory over Elena Svitolina, 6-3, 6-4, sending Eala into the semifinals after defeating 3 world-class players in succession. Watching from courtside, Tracy Austin summed it up perfectly. Eala's game simply belongs on grass. She stays incredibly low through her shots. Her ground strokes travel flat through the court. Her left-handed serve skids awkwardly after the bounce, and her compact swings allow her to attack returns before opponents have time to recover. Those are exactly the qualities rewarded on grass courts. Of course, her season hasn't been flawless. She lost convincingly to a top player at Queen's Club and exited Bad Homburg in the opening round,
But Wimbledon has revealed a completely different version of Alex Eala. She opened the tournament by overwhelming Renata Zarazua 6-1, 6-2, firing 22 winners while dominating return games from the very first point. Then came a far greater challenge, Maya Joint. After dropping the opening set 3-6, Eala could easily have faded. Instead, she elevated her game. She stormed through the second set 6-2 before delivering a breathtaking final set performance, handing Joint a stunning 6-0 shutout. She repeatedly broke serve while keeping unforced errors to an absolute minimum. That comeback wasn't just impressive, it revealed something even more important. Alex Eala is learning how to survive difficult matches on grass, not just dominate the easy ones, and that could prove invaluable against Świątek.
So what happens when these two finally meet? The head-to-head is perfectly balanced. Eala won their meeting in Miami on hard courts. Świątek answered by beating Eala on clay in Madrid. Now they meet for the first time on grass, a surface that changes almost everything. Świątek's greatest weapon has always been her heavy topspin forehand. On clay, that ball explodes high after the bounce, forcing opponents into uncomfortable positions. Grass doesn't reward that style in the same way. The ball stays low, the bounce is quicker. Heavy topspin loses much of its bite. Last year, Świątek adapted brilliantly and won Wimbledon, but this season that adjustment hasn't looked nearly as convincing. She's been forced to flatten her shots more frequently, and when matches become tight, she's relied heavily on her serve. Unfortunately for her, that serve hasn't always held up. Her first serve percentage has hovered around 63% throughout the season, and many of her toughest defeats have followed a familiar pattern. 6 of her 11 losses have come in deciding sets, or after holding winning positions she couldn't finish. That trend matters because if Alex Eala can stretch this contest deep into a third set, the psychological pressure may begin shifting toward the defending champion. Eala's strengths, meanwhile, become even more dangerous on grass. She strikes the ball flat, attacks early, and redirects pace beautifully. Her left-handed serve naturally swings into a right-handed opponent before staying low after the bounce, making returns far more difficult than they first appear. Even one of Świątek's greatest strengths, her elite return game, may have less time to operate against that delivery. Eala has also become increasingly confident moving forward. During her victories over Maya Joint and Elina Svitolina, she mixed in serve and volley plays and attacked the net whenever opportunities appeared. Against a player like Świątek, who prefers extended baseline exchanges, that added variety could become a major tactical advantage. Still, perspective is important. Świątek remains the defending Wimbledon champion. She is still world number 3. She owns 6 Grand Slam titles and has repeatedly proven she can thrive under the brightest spotlight tennis has to offer. Alex Eala, on the other hand, is entering completely new territory. Before this tournament, her best Grand Slam result was reaching the second round of the 2025 US Open. Now she'll walk onto one of the sport's biggest stages to face the defending champion, with thousands of Filipino fans behind her and millions watching around the world. That's a different kind of pressure. Sometimes it sharpens a player. Sometimes it makes even the simplest shots feel impossible. And that's why this match is so captivating. Because despite all of Świątek's struggles this season, she's still shown flashes of the champion who dominated women's tennis. Even in defeat at Roland Garros, she produced impressive victories over Naomi Osaka and Jessica Pegula to reach the 4th round. Before losing to Elina Svitolina in Rome, she had cruised through the draw, including a commanding 6-1, 6-2 victory over Pegula in the quarterfinals. That inconsistency cuts both ways. It reminds everyone that even during a difficult year, Świątek is still capable of looking like the best player in the world without warning. That's what makes her so difficult to predict right now. One week she looks every bit like the best player on the planet, capable of dominating anyone in front of her. Then, almost without warning, the rhythm disappears. Forehands begin missing by inches, confidence fades, and matches that once felt routine suddenly become battles.
So which version of Świątek will walk onto center court? That's the mystery. And the first 15 minutes of this match could tell us almost everything. The first thing to watch is Alex Eala's return position. When they met in Miami, Eala did something incredibly bold. Instead of sitting back behind the baseline, she stepped several feet inside it on Świątek's second serve. That aggressive positioning stole time from the Polish star, cut off angles before they could develop, and immediately put pressure on every service game. On grass, the tactic becomes even more dangerous. The ball skids through the court faster than on any other surface. If Eala stands inside the baseline again, she'll be sending a clear message. I'm not here to survive, I'm here to attack. If she starts retreating instead, it could suggest that the occasion has made her more cautious, and against Świątek, caution usually comes at a price. The second early indicator is the depth of Świątek's forehand. When she's playing with confidence, that forehand consistently lands deep, just a couple of feet from the baseline, pinning opponents behind the court and forcing them onto the defensive. When confidence disappears, so does that depth. The ball begins landing shorter, sometimes dropping into the middle of the court, and suddenly opponents have time to step forward and dictate play. Against most players, that's dangerous. Against Alex Eala, it could be disastrous. Eala thrives on taking the ball early. Give her an extra fraction of a second and she'll gladly turn defense into offense. sometimes the difference between winning and losing a rally is only 3 or 4 feet. The third factor may ultimately be the most important: serving under pressure. Eala's serve has improved noticeably this season, touching around 105 miles per hour, but compared to the rest of her game, it remains the area opponents are most likely to attack. In Berlin, she could occasionally afford to lose a service game because her returning was so dominant that she'd often break right back. Against Świątek, that luxury may not exist. Even during an inconsistent season, the defending champion still possesses the ability to produce huge serves when she absolutely needs them. That means Eala must protect her own service games far more consistently. If she falls behind early or drops the opening set, she'll face an entirely different challenge. Coming back against Maya Joint was impressive. Doing it against the reigning Wimbledon champion is another level altogether.
So where does all of this leave us? The truth is simple. Alex Eala absolutely can win this match. That's not wishful thinking. It's not an attempt to create drama. It's a conclusion supported by everything we've seen over the past several months. She has already beaten Świątek once. She's playing the best tennis of her career. Grass naturally enhances her strengths while reducing some of Świątek's biggest advantages. Her left-handed serve creates uncomfortable angles. Her flat ground strokes stay low through the court. Her ability to attack early has never looked sharper, and the recent results speak for themselves. A title in Birmingham, 3 consecutive victories over top 10 players in Berlin, 2 commanding wins at Wimbledon, including a remarkable 6-0 final set against Maya Joint. This has been the finest stretch of tennis Alex Eala has ever produced. But there's an important difference between can and will. Świątek owns something that can't be measured by statistics alone: experience. She's played and won matches with Grand Slam trophies on the line. She understands the emotional swings that come with center court, with packed stadiums, with millions watching around the world. Those moments no longer surprise her. For Eala, they're still relatively new. And then there's another factor that's impossible to ignore. This is still center court. She lifted the Wimbledon trophy here just 12 months ago. Every corner of center court holds memories of success. Sometimes that familiarity matters more than people realize. So what do I expect? A tight opening set. Not a one-sided battle, not a runaway victory. Just 2 players testing each other, searching for weaknesses, with perhaps 1 or 2 breaks of serve deciding the early momentum. Eala's aggressive returning should create immediate pressure, especially against Świątek's second serve. But championship players have a remarkable ability to elevate their level when matches begin slipping away. Świątek has shown throughout her career that she can suddenly find another gear, particularly on the biggest stages. If Eala captures the opening set, everything changes. Suddenly, the pressure shifts squarely onto the defending champion, whose struggles in deciding sets this season become impossible to ignore. At that point, the match becomes anyone's. If Świątek wins the first set instead, the mountain becomes much steeper for Eala. Confidence has always fueled Świątek's best tennis. Give her a lead, and she's often difficult to stop. On paper, the percentages still favor the defending champion. She's ranked higher, she's won 6 Grand Slam titles, she's the reigning Wimbledon champion. Logic says she advances. But logic hasn't always worked this season. The percentages also favored her against Martia at Roland Garros. They favored her against Emma Navarro in Bad Homburg. They favored her in Miami against Magdalena. Each time, the expected result never arrived. This has been a season where Świątek has lost matches that just a year ago almost nobody imagined she could lose. And Alex Eala is far more dangerous than those opponents. She doesn't step onto this court hoping she belongs. She already knows she does, because she's beaten Świątek before. Not through luck, not because the favorite played badly. She won by taking time away, dictating rallies, attacking relentlessly, and refusing to play the match on Świątek's terms. That's a powerful memory to carry into center court. My prediction, 3 sets. I believe one of those sets will be surprisingly one-sided. But the final outcome won't come down to rankings. It won't come down to reputation. It won't even come down to who plays the prettier tennis. It will come down to one simple question. When the pressure reaches its highest point, when every point feels like it could change the tournament, which player trusts her own hands more? If Alex Eala stays composed and swings freely, she has every weapon necessary to pull off another unforgettable upset. If nerves begin to creep in, even for a few games, Świątek has enough championship experience to recognize the moment and finish the job. That's what makes this matchup so compelling. That's the question every tennis fan wants answered. And on Friday, the grass at Wimbledon will reveal the truth in a way that no prediction ever can.